Good morning. I'm not sure if I'm looking there or here. So sorry for the delay, but we'll begin. Okay, so if you haven't done the practice last week, just bumble along because obviously we'll be doing the same thing for the next few weeks. Good morning. I'm not sure if I'm looking there or here. Something's weird's going on because I can see myself over there. Can you just hold on one second? Yeah, the video's playing while I'm in it. Hey? The web page? Oh, okay. Can I go again now? Okay. Sorry everybody. I think it was because when I sent that message to say we were running late, it was open, so it was playing when I could see it. I was like, oh. Anyway, let's begin. So, come down into either Baddha, which is obviously this position, if you feel comfortable. Otherwise, constructive rest position with your feet flat on your mat, if that's what you prefer. So just start by checking in. You're just noticing how everything is feeling this morning. So checking in with your energy levels, becoming aware of any injuries that you know you need to be mindful of, any special conditions, and making a resolve, particularly if this is the first time that you've practiced in a while, to only do the thing that feels the most comfortable, the most useful, the most appropriate for your body. You've got plenty of time to add on as we go through the term. Try and relax as much as you can. And when we're going through the practice, just try and keep your face, your neck, your throat, all those things that we're not using, all those muscles that we don't need to use but we tend to overuse for no particular reason. Just try and keep those things always soft. I had a guy in my class last night, a new person, and he said to me, one good thing about wearing a mask is that you can't see me grimacing behind my mask. And you know, we do a lot of that, don't we, if we're on the phone to Telstra or we've got something going on, and it's not necessarily helpful. So these are all the things that we can just start to become aware of. We're going to do that slightly longer inhalation exercise just to become a little bit more breath aware, and also to just give a sense of slowing down the breathing. So when you're ready, just very softly, very gently push down on the pelvic floor and just feel as if you're taking a little sip of air into the lower belly. Feel the majority of the air moving into the main part of the belly, a little bit into the lower chest, and a tiny bit more into the collarbone. So 3/4 of a lungful. And when you're ready to let that air go, when you're ready to exhale, just soften your body. Let everything sink into the space beneath you. So it's a little bit like when you've had a really busy day, particularly if it's involved some physical stuff, and you fall into bed and you just let your body sink. That's exactly what your exhalation is going to feel like for this particular practice. Very passive. Complete the exhalation round that you're on, and when you're ready, bring your knees together if they're not together already, and press your toes, your heels, the soles of your feet quite firmly down into your mat. Lift your pubic bone slightly, bring your chin in, and if it's more comfortable for your back, you can bring one knee at a time to your armpits so your toes are closed and your knees are quite wide. And in that position, relax and soften. Let your ribs, again, your face, your neck and your throat completely release. When you're ready, hold on to your shins and bring your knees just that little bit closer to your armpits, but without forcing. Create some resistance by pushing the shins into your palms and the palms into your shins. and relax. And that might feel a little bit easier. So starting with the fish pose, Matsyasana variation, broaden across the upper back, press the shoulder blades down, bring the chin in and relax the belly, and expand the tummy as you inhale. So feel like you're trying to lift your belly, your chest, your collarbone, as if towards the ceiling. So front of the body lifts and the middle of your spine moves away from the mat like a little back arch. Relax. Allow the back of the body to gently sink back down. And this time, if you can, bring your arms in between your thighs, give it a bit of a push and relax. And then take your palms to your outer knees and push your outer knees into your palms and your palms into your outer knees and relax. Bring your knees together, pop the arms down by the side, give your hips a little bit of a wiggle. So from the left to the right side. So we're checking in and just noticing how that feels. And if you need to, you can just continue with this side to side movement, but if it feels okay and you want to do something a little bit different, you can just start to move the lower part of your spine in a circle. And let's take it back, opposite direction. And finishing off. So bring your knees in and give your hips one last little wiggle from the left to the right side. Now pop your left foot on the mat, take your right leg straight so it's about 10 centimeters off the mat. That's going to help relax the hamstring. It keeps that thigh muscle nice and strong at the front. And we're going to do some one-legged bicycles. So we're just going to do a little warm up on the floor that you may or may not be familiar with. I know Irene's done it a few 100 times now, so she's very familiar with it. And opposite direction. And then bring your right thigh as close to the chest as you can. Interlink your hands, take them around the shin. Give it a push and relax. Stay there if you prefer, or you can straighten your left leg. But if you straighten your left leg, anchor the heel, feel like you're pressing your hamstring as close to the mat as you can. And we're going to do this the same way we did the fish pose. So that means you're pushing your shin into your palms, you're pressing your shoulder blades down, and it feels like you're trying to lift the front of your body towards the ceiling. Relax, relax, and stretch your fingertips towards the bottom of the mat so your shoulders move away from your ears. Stay here, or you can expand the tummy on the inhalation, chin to the throat, peel the upper body off the mat, and maybe you can lift your left thigh off the floor and bring both thighs to chest, lie back down, and we're going to roll over to the left side to do some clams. So your left arm is out to the side. You can pop the hand under your head if you want to do it that way. Your feet stay quite close, but your knee lifts, the right thigh lifts away. Okay, so we're going to do 12. So that was 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Straighten your right leg if you can, or just do the same as what you just did. We're going to push into the ball of the foot and do 12 of these. My lower leg's a little bit bent. Okay, so it's 1, slowly, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Last one. So this is 12. And then heel to the bottom, one knee on top of the other. We're lifting the lower legs now, but the knees are on the floor. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And come back into constructive rest. So if you straighten that right leg and straighten the left leg, it feels very different on the right side. Okay, so lift the pubic bone, chin in, grip with the right foot, left leg straight. 10 centimeters off the mat, hold it there for a few seconds to relax the hamstring, and one-legged bicycles with the left leg. Opposite direction. Bring your left thigh, when you're ready, nice and close to your chest. Interlink the hands around the shin, give it a push, and relax. Stay, or flatten the right leg to the floor so you're anchoring the heel, pressing the hamstring down if you can. And a little bit like the fish pose, you push the shin into the palms, Shoulder blades press down, but it feels like you're lifting the front of the body up. Relax. Let everything sink back down. Take your fingertips to the bottom of the mat. If you want to, that right foot can go on the floor as well. Leave your head where it is or expand the tummy on the in-breath. Chin to the throat. Peel the upper body off the mat. Maybe you can lift the right leg, but check that these muscles are still nice and soft. And bring the right thigh to the chest. Come back down. Pop your feet on the mat. We're going to roll over to the right side and do the clams on this side. So feet quite close. Are you ready? We're going to do 12. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So you can rest. You can do another 12, or I'm going to straighten that lower leg a little bit, extend into the ball of my left foot, and do 12 of these. 1, slowly, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and one more. So that's 12. So heel to the bottom, one knee on top of the other. We're lifting the lower leg. See? So we're going to do 5. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Come back into constructive rest position. Last little sit up. This will get us up. So thighs towards your chest, fingertips towards the bottom of the mat, balls of the feet to the ceiling. See how my thighs are still touching my chest. Leave your head where it is or expand the tummy on the inhalation, chin to the throat. Peel the upper body off the mat. Now some of you might be able to lift your tailbone as well. Now if you know it's not really appropriate or safe or comfortable to come up from here, don't do it. Lie back down, roll to the right side, come to sitting and then standing in your own time. Otherwise, you can come up to sitting, possibly you can come up to standing. So when you're ready, have your feet about hip width apart, bend the knees a little bit, push the groins forward. So for the sake of this exercise, I'm kind of flattening out my lower back, but I'm giving these muscles a big stretch, and usually they're squished if you're sitting. So rounding out the back, elbows to the ceiling, armpits to the floor, extend out through the crown of your head. Tilt your weight forward, feel your toes grip, and imagine you're stretching the mat apart with your feet. At the same time, squeeze your heels towards each other. So it's a little bit like we're trying to take our feet into duck feet, even though we're ever so slightly pigeon-toed. Follow me and I'll give you instructions as we go along. So nice and relaxed, calm and firm. That's Sthira Sukham. Last one. After this one, go off to one side for 5. Back to center, 5. Off to the other side. Center for 5. One side. Back to center. Play around with it if you want to. Other side. Last 5. Last one. Five. Last one. And elbows for 12. Last one. Back to the beginning. And 5. And elbows. Last one. Back to the beginning. One more. Last one. 12. I'm going to go straight into the vinyasa this time. This is 9, 10, 11, 12. Lift if you want to. Simple version. Remember that left sitting bone pushes forward a little bit harder. Challenging. And crisscross. This is hard for me because I'm going to not have much space. This is a simple version. Now if you want to go further, you turn it into a twist and a forward bend, but only go as far as you comfortably can. From here we're going to go into the twisting half moon pose. So I'm off my mat, so you should be too. So your weight's on the left foot, right toe tip behind. So I'm showing you a simple version that's harder, and that's tricky. Back into that crisscross. Left toe tip to the left hand corner. Push that left sitting bone forward. Reach into the corner with the left fingertips. So you want to feel like your your pubic bone's pushing to your right foot. And left foot off the floor if you want to. Do what you can. Half moon position, so left toe tip behind, again tailbone down, turn from the belly to the left side here, or you can lift. And we're going to go into the warrior 3. You can take that foot to the floor if you want to. We're going to go into a lunge. Hope I've got enough space. Yes, whoops, falling over. Bring the tailbone down. Lift from the pubic bone. Reach with the fingers. So your front sitting bone, the right one's pushing forward and the left sitting bone is pushing back. Twist to the right side. Reach into the left-hand corner if you can. Stay here if you don't want to take your hands to the floor, otherwise left fingertips to the floor, right arm up. Squeeze that front heel to the opposite side. And coming up from the pubic bone if you can, back into the twist or the side stretch. Imaginary cuddle. We're going to do 3 of these. This is the simple version, so that's 1. This is a trickier version if you want to do that one, so that's 2, 3. Now on the 4th one, we're going to go into warrior 3. Simple, harder, challenging. And dancer's pose, simple, harder, challenging, tricky. Karate Kid position, so simple, lift the pubic bone, harder, tricky. Pop the left foot down, we go into elbows to the right side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Push the tailbone down, lift the pubic bone, stay or lift the right leg. Right toe tip. Oops, no, it's not in the corner, is it? We're doing this one. Lift the right leg if you want to. Now, because this is a little bit like a standing pigeon pose, you almost want to imagine that you're trying to get that right heel to touch that left armpit. That's tricky. Let's go into the crisscross. Right foot over to the left. Simple, or you can turn it into a twist and a little bit of a forward bend. Now, how far you come down just depends on how your body is feeling and what it's going to let you do. Don't overdo it. Twisting half moon pose. So my right foot's going to stay where it is. Left foot goes behind. Easy, harder, challenging. Back into the crisscross. Right toe tip into the right hand corner. Push that right sitting bone forward. Lengthen into the left fingertips. Feel like your pubic bone is moving towards your left heel. Leave the right foot on the floor, or you can lift it slightly or higher if you feel comfortable. Tummy breathing, face relaxed. We're going to go from here into the half moon position, so right foot behind. Belly button to the back of the mat. Keep the lower back a little bit flatter. Easier, or gripping with the left foot, harder. Challenging. If you want to make it really hard, you try and get that left elbow closer to the floor. I'm not game on carpet because I can't balance very well on carpet. I've discovered it needs work. Better than last week though. Warrior 3. You can do that with the foot on the floor if you prefer. And into the lunge. Oh, that was better than the other side. Drop the tailbone, take the weight into the back foot. Relax the belly. Bring the arms up. Reach. Turn your tummy to the left side. Reach into the corner with your right fingertips. Stay there, or you can go into the next twist. You don't have to do this one if you prefer not to bring your hands to the floor. Squeeze that left heel over to the opposite side. So you'll feel that stretch in your bum maybe. To come up, push that left sitting bone forward. Try and move from the pubic bone, from the navel, that area, as opposed to kind of just lifting from the chest. Give yourself an imaginary cuddle. Easier. Otherwise, 2 of these. 2, I mean there was 3 altogether. Now as into the last one, we're going into a warrior 3 position. Simple, harder, challenging. And dancer's pose. Simple, harder, challenging, tricky. And the Karate Kid position. Simple, harder, challenging. Lovely. I'm going to do some fancy hands. So you can just follow me, or you can do the left and the right, it doesn't matter. So bend the knees a little bit, push the tailbone towards the floor, but lift the pubic bone slightly. So fancy hands. You can do exactly the same for another round, or it's a little bit harder. Okay, so you're coming up maybe, you bend a little bit, only come down if your knees can take it. I'm imagining that I'm squeezing something behind my knees. What's called a little bunda. It's like a bandage. But I wouldn't do it if my knees were sore, because I don't think it makes them feel any better. Going to side stretch over to the right, over to the left, hiking that left hip. We're going to do a twist. Hike the right hip, take it around to the right side, lift the left shoulder, press the palms together, and other side. Back to the first position. Take the arms behind. Notice my bum's not sticking out. Stay or come up onto the balls of your feet. Roll your shoulders in, round out the back. Squeeze the hands into a fist. Stay or come up. And back of hands together if possible. Otherwise, just keep doing what you're doing. So shoulders down, arms back. Stay or come up. Bend a little bit or come down further if you can. Swap it over. Lovely. Shoulders down, arms up. Back to the first position. Just going to straighten my mat. Okay, quite a long vinyasa. See how you go. So like a swim. Take your left leg back. I'm going to do 3 of these. So that's 1, 2, and 3. The 4th one into a warrior 3 position. I'm going to go back into that lunge. So I want you to push your weight into the back foot, but push the right sitting bone forward. Bring the arms forward and see how my back is rounded. It's like I'm riding a road bike. Elbows towards each other. You'll feel that stretch in your upper back, breathing into the tummy. I'm going to turn this into Trikonasana. So that's triangle pose. So back heel to the floor, belly to the ceiling. So I'm straightening that right leg, but not completely. It's like 97% straight. Left arm up. Now you might have your hand just below your knee, just depends on your flexibility. Squeeze the front heel over to the left side. And ideally what we want is top of the thigh, the heel, and the back heel, and the top of the back thigh all in one line. So in other words, I don't know if you can see in the mirror, pose doesn't look like this. Okay? And practice in front of a mirror if you like. Second variation, drop the left arm. Now I'm getting you to do this because some people do this and they're rigid, they've got this shoulder and it's like this and they go, oh, why does my shoulder hurt? So let the arm drop completely. That's gravity. Now imagine you're Pinocchio and there's strings on your fingers. And someone is pulling that left arm forward and you're going to press your back foot into the mat. Well, now you're reaching for the top of the cupboard, but you're a little bit too short like me, and you're going to turn the belly towards the ceiling, and that's a little bit different. Let the shoulder relax again. Roll the shoulder in, wrap it around if you can. Grab what you can. It could be a leg, but it might just be a bit of material, you never know. Belly to the ceiling. And then bending your front leg, coming up. Warrior 2. Squeeze the front heel over to the left side. 5 of these. So this is 1 and 2, 3, 4. Last one. This is 5. And I'm going to hug the tree, Gajastan. So push your heels to your toes. Bottom bones to your heels. Relax the belly, relax the face. And when Shoulders in, arms up and slightly out. Interlink your hands, palms down, palms forward, palms up, stay or come up. Lower the heels, extend into the heels of your hands. Fingertips to your ears, lean over to the right and push. Give yourself a bit of a cuddle. Palms up, lean over to the left and push. Give it a bit of a cuddle. Palms up, little breath in, belly to the right, right arm back, left arm forward. Give yourself a bit of a cuddle. Palms up, little breath in, belly to the left, left arm back, right arm forward. Give yourself a little bit of a cuddle. Shoulders in, bringing the arms up. And you can either just pop your hands on your thighs and turn your feet into a slightly pigeon-toed position, or bring your fingers to the floor and then turn your feet into a slightly pigeon-toed position. If you feel this is quite challenging, you've got this pressure thing that some people have going on in their head, you can use a block or a bolster for that little bit of height. And you can do something like this where you're looking forward. If you feel like you've got the flexibility, you can start to walk your hands between your feet. But we want these legs nice and strong. So I've got a little bend in my knee. It's easier that way, it protects my knee. Push into the outer feet, grip with the toes. And again, you're imagining that you're trying to get your feet into duck feet. Let your head relax, let your shoulders soften. I'm going to do a little bit of a twist. It doesn't matter if your hand is on a block or a bolster, just do what you can. So you're going to press the left palm down, pop the right hand on the belly and round out the back. So we want to make sure we're moving from the trunk. We're trying to get movement in the trunk, okay? So as you breathe in, belly to the right side. Take the right arm up, but notice I'm not doing this, okay? And then you use your left palm to twist your navel more to the right. Now I can see my right foot, and I'm going to push into the right foot. So the right foot is creating some resistance. This left palm is twisting me. And I think it's better to look into the corner rather than up, because that can be a bit hard on your neck, but I'll leave that to you. But what I want to see is this is turning as opposed to just doing that and that. Yeah, make a difference. And pop the right hand down, because you want to get some rotation in the trunk where it's a little bit stiff. So keep the right hand, or press the right hand down now. Pop the left hand on the belly. Belly should be soft, otherwise it's hard to move. Breathe into the soft tummy. Turn the soft tummy to the left. It'll get firmer as you rotate. You'll feel those muscles working. Left arm out, slightly up, slightly out. Use the right palm to twist. Now I'm looking at my left foot, so I'm going to push into my left foot. Create that resistance and relax. Lovely. Turn your feet back into Gadget stand, lengthen between the fingers, a little bit like the lawnmower but slightly different. So 1, 2, slightly different from the last version that we did anyway. 3. So from here, easy, harder, challenging, and then into the Karate Kid. So you can do the easier version if you want to, medium or challenging. And pop the foot down. Very good. So that left leg should feel a little bit different around the hip, I hope. The hip, I hope. Second side, like a swim. Take the right leg back. So we go 1, 2, 3. Warrior. Easy. Harder. Challenging. Into the lunge. So I'm going to push that left sitting bone forward, right sitting bone back, round out my back as if I was riding a road bike, bring the arms forward, elbows closer and slightly forward. I'm going to feel that stretch in my upper back. Keep breathing into the belly. And we're going to go from here into Trikonasana. So back heel to the floor, belly to the ceiling, straightening that front leg but not completely, maybe 95%, maybe 97%. Reach up rather than collapsing down. Make sense? We're always resisting gravity unless we're using gravity. Just check you've got all those things in alignment, your heels with the tops of your thighs. You might need to come up a little bit so that your bum doesn't stick out. Drop that arm because I want to get you the most movement in that shoulder. And again, if it's too stiff because you're holding it too rigid, because you're very, determined, it won't move. So let it relax. And we've got the Pinocchio strings on the right arm, fingers even. They're being pulled forward like that. All the way forward. Now you imagine you're going to reach for the top of that cupboard, even though it's over there, and turn the belly to the ceiling. That's different. So I don't want that arm stiff. I want it relaxed but firm. Let the shoulder drop again. Gravity. Roll the right shoulder in, wrap it around the waist, grab what you can. It might not be very much, but you can do what you can. Turn the belly to the ceiling. I've got really long arms, it's easier. And warrior two. Lengthening between the fingers. 5 of these. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5. And Gadgistan. If you want to make Gadgistan easier, have a narrower stance, not such a deep squat. Hug the tree. Now we're going to do some coffee. I think everyone's done coffee before, but you'll soon get it. So elbows to the side, ribs. So we're going to have coffee with the right hand. So imagine you've got a cup of coffee in your hand. You're offering it over to the left, all the way around to the right. And then without spilling your coffee, roll the shoulder in once, like cocktail. 2, I should prefer cocktail. And 3. Lovely. Second side. Over to the right with the left hand. All the way forward. And 1. And 2. And 3. And shoulders in, bringing the arms up. Pop your palms or your hands on your thighs. This is the J-Lo, I call this. It's great for your digestion. So left shoulder to the right heel. Right shoulder to the left heel. One more each side. Lovely. And again, hands to floor or a block, or you can stand up and do this next one. Adjust your feet. If you need to walk your hands forward and look forward, do that. Otherwise, a little bend in the knee no matter what. Some of you could walk your hands between your feet. Keep the legs strong by pushing into the outer feet, squeezing the heels as if towards the midline. Relax the shoulders. Relax the head, relax the neck, only if you can. So this time we're using gravity for slightly different purposes. We're in a slightly different position to what we're normally in. So when we're walking around our spine, all those joints are essentially being crushed a little bit because of gravity. But when we turn things upside down, it's a slightly different experience, but still gravity. Now the twist we're going to do on this side, doesn't matter where your hands are, if they're forward or if they're close to your feet, you can still get a twist. It's a simple version is where we just walk our hands over to the right side. I'm going to show you 2 add-ons today because I know Irene is actually one add-on here. I know Irene's dying for an add-on. So just imagine you're going to align your belly with the right thigh, your belly button. Now you can stay there or you take your arms into outer space. Okay, we're not pulling those 2 things together. Now this is a deeper twist. I don't know if you can do this one, but you can try. So you're turning your belly to the ceiling. You see this shoulder on the outside like that. And right arm forward. It's tricky. Create resistance. Relax. Second side. Walk your arms, your fingers over to the left. And maybe that's enough, or you visualize your navel aligning with your left thigh. You can take your arms into outer space. All right, so listen carefully if you didn't quite get what we were doing. You don't have to do this one, it is hard. You keep turning your belly as if to the ceiling. And I've got the outside of my right arm pressing into that left arm. Left leg even. That's easy, isn't it? My left hand is forward here. Relax. My shoulders are very tight. Catch a step. Lengthen between the fingers. Let's try 1 and 2 and 3. Easier, harder, challenging. Easier, harder, challenging. Beautiful. So we're going to do, I'll stay here because there's a little bit of left and right involved, and if I turn around it might confuse everything. So we're just going to do a little bit of energy balling. So there's a difference between the energy balling, which is quite soft and fluid, and elbows, because you imagine the speed of that. Or if it was done at a speed, it could be quite powerful and quite dangerous. Whereas this is much more gentle, flowing exercise. And we really want to have the movement in the trunk so that we can maximize the blood flow around all the essential organs. And sometimes you can really work on making sure it's your trunk moving, but you can see I'm keeping my hips quite still. So you can do it like this is fun. But if you really want to see if you're stiff and you know where you need to move, keep your hips still. It gives you a great indication of whether all that movement is just coming from your lower back. Relax, come back down. Or come down, because you haven't been here yet. Nice soft Uttanasana. And if you can, if it's possible for you, come onto your shins. We're going to do some exercises for our hands, but you can do them in any position. We can pop a cushion under your knees if it doesn't feel comfy. So we're going to lean back, take the arms back again, push into the heels of the hands, and then roll the shoulders in, bring the arms forward, round out the back, leaning back to feel the abs working, and squeeze the hands into a fist. So I'm taking my left hand to the right, right hand to the left, palms together. Now try and keep the palms touching as you bring the hands through. And we're working on straightening the arms but keeping the palms touching. And if you can keep the palms touching and straighten the arms, then you could try turning your hands in an anti-clockwise direction. That gives you a little bit more. Take it back. Swap it over. So this time my right hand's on the left. Press the palms together. Take the hands through. Work on straightening the arms and maybe turn your hands anti-clockwise. Lovely. And shoulders in, bringing the arms up. Now maybe you lean back. You don't have to drop your head up or back. Spread the fingers. Grab your mat. So I want you to press your fingers down now and lift the palms, and you can just press the little finger, ring finger, middle finger, index finger down. And when you take your palm, your thumb and your thumb pad back down, let's again just be fully aware of how we're using the surface of our hands even to connect with the mat, because often we'll go into the niggly bit of the wrist and we forget. You see, it's passive. I don't want you to be passive. I want you to use your fingers, your palm, your thumb and your thumb pad, and maybe even keep the base of your wrist a tiny little bit off the floor so that you're not irritating it. So we're going to round out the back, take the right leg back, left arm forward. And normally I do the next exercise with my left hand on the floor, but this is trickier. It's a bit of a challenge. It's up to you. If you want to take your left hand down, it won't matter. Okay, so we're going to do 5 of these. Are you ready? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we're going to take that right foot to the back of the mat, and we're going to make sure the weight's on the back foot, and we're just going to be on maybe 2 fingers of the left hand, just 2 fingers, and that right arm goes forward again, the same way I showed you before, soft shoulder. Okay, so this is Parigasana, reach and lengthen. See how strong those muscles are when you work like this. Now what we can do is take the left fingertips off the floor. Those muscles will go even firmer because something has to hold you in place. You can play around with it. You could try both. This is easier on carpet, but it's still hard. But those muscles are having to work quite strongly to keep you in place. Come back into this position. So what we're going to do is we're just going to stretch out this right calf like that. Come down and swap it over. So now we're going to stretch out the left calf like that. And we're going to try the pose called Gomukhasana. But if you don't want to do this, or it doesn't feel good for you, just kneel and stretch forward instead. Otherwise your right foot's going over there. And we're going to slide that left leg in and work towards bringing the bottom towards the floor. Now you could put a cushion or a block under there. Now even if your bum's not on the floor, you can try just squeezing your inner thighs together. And some of you can play around by going to one side, going to the other side. It feels quite juicy to do a little bit of a twist as well while you're doing this one. And come into cat pose. Just re-establish that protection for your wrists by using the whole of your hand. This is going to come into play a bit later as well. So left leg back. I'm not going to keep the chair. Right, and right arm forward. And obviously it's easier if you take your right hand to the floor. You can try this. Okay, so we go 1. It's tricky. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Left foot to the back of the mat. So I'm going to just come up onto the first 2, my index finger and my middle finger. It's just a little bit of help. This left shoulder is soft. It's the Pinocchio thing again, getting a nice big side stretch. Those muscles are firm, especially if I take the hand off the floor. But what you can do is take the left leg off the floor too. Maybe you can do both. Whoa, tricky. Hours of fun practicing that one. And back into that first position. So try pushing the heel to the floor. Stretching out the calf. Swapping it over to right leg now. And you can either kneel and stretch forward, or you're going to take that left foot over to the right side. Slide that right knee in behind and work towards bringing your bottom to the floor, or you can use a cushion or a block under your bum. Squeeze the inner thighs together, and maybe just as we did on the first side, you could just do a little twisty thing if you wanted. Play around with it a little bit. Come back into cat pose. Lovely. Oh, shall I stay there? Maybe I will. Oh, I'll turn around. I think you know these poses. So we're going to do chaturanga. That's the pose. We can practice this with our hands by using our fingers, not just our wrist. So stay in cat pose if you need to. Come into plank if you can. If you don't want to do it at all, just lie on your tummy now. Try and work with your form. All right, form makes everything easier, but you just have to learn how to do the form first. So shoulders over the wrists, breathe in, now your elbows come in, and that's going to engage your armpits, which helps your core stay strong. It means you can come here and still talk, like I'm still talking, and then lie on your tummy. Shalabhasana. So elbows on the floor, like this weird jumper, and roll your thighs in, pull the elbows to the hips, push the armpits down. Lift the sternum. Lift the sternum. And relax. So we're going to do these stretches for the pecs. I won't turn around again. You can, if you're mirroring, that's okay. I think most of you guys have done these poses before though, so it's probably easier if you don't mirror and you kind of just remember the instructions. So left knee goes out to the side, push the tailbone down, grab the mat on the left side. Now that is midnight. That's 3 o'clock. So we're going to be somewhere in the middle. That's 1:30. Bend the elbow. And can you see my hand? It's not like I'm not doing this. Grabbing the floor, pushing the pec down like that. And then you use your left hand to try and lift the pec. If you could imagine in your mind that you've glued that pec to the floor with super glue. And you're using your left hand as if to try and undo that glue, but it's just not undoing. So we're creating resistance. We're never doing a passive stretch, never. Okay, now if you want to, you can take that left toe tip behind you. Just depends, obviously. If it feels like your arm is going to fall off, that probably isn't a good idea. Back to the first position, and if you just take the time to check in, you're going to feel that shoulder feels much nicer than the other one. So let's take the right knee out, push the tailbone down, grab the mat. So this is midnight, 9 o'clock if I didn't have the window there. 10:30 is where we want the arm. We're going to bend the elbow, bend it. Say that a lot, and I still see people with their arms straighten up here. So it's 10:30, it's a bent elbow, we're grabbing the floor. Push the pec down and imagine it's glued. Then you use your right hand, and it's like this right hand is trying to get that glue to undo. The glue to undo. And you keep pushing your pec down. Some of you maybe could take your right foot behind. Back to the first position, and that should feel a bit nicer. So I'm going to slide down a little bit. So what we've got now is a delightful exercise called swimming. And if you don't want to do it, you could do this one. You can do a half version where you keep your head on the floor, maybe just do your arms like this. Or you can keep your hands on the floor and just do your feet. I'm going to do both. We're going to do 35. Okay? So keeping your chin in, up on your toes, arms forward. On your marks, get set. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. Relax. Let everything soften. Let all those muscles soften. We're going to go from here into kneeling, stretching forward. And if you know how to do the harder version of the worm, you can do that one. Otherwise, I'm going to take you through the version that's a little bit more accessible for most people. So I've got my forearms on the floor. You move your shoulders away from your ears. Keep your chin in. So in other words, we're not lifting like this. That's a habit. Bad habit. Let's change these habits. Let's change them. All right. So shoulders away from the ears. Focus on your pubic bone. As you breathe in, pubic bone to the chin. See that? That's different from the normal thing that squishes the lower back, squishes the neck. Cat pose. Rounding out the back, take your knees wide, big toes touching, and if it's possible for you, bottom close to your heels. Now, if there's an issue with your neck, shoulders and arms, maybe just drop it where you are. If there are no issues with your neck, your shoulders and your arms, then you can use them to traction your spine. So you creep your fingers all the way to the top of the mat. Now I'm going to spread my fingers and press my palms down as if I was weight bearing, as if I was doing a handstand. Bring the chin towards the throat. Now as you push the armpits down, can you imagine, or at least try, to lift your spine, your back ribs, as if towards the ceiling. So armpits down, but back ribs lift up. So there's a lot going on now. It's a lot different to this. There's nothing going on there. That's nothing. I'm just squashing my nose. Okay. Make it count. This is going to improve the blood flow into your fingertips, provided you're not tensing and squeezing. And it's going to keep you nice and warm. And you're going to end up with a little bit more space between all of those vertebral joints that get squished every day when we're just walking around doing our normal stuff. Alright, now this is how your down dog should feel. Obviously down dog is completely optional, and what we've got in this sequence is the wild thing pose, but you can do the pose that we did before. Do you remember? Parigasana. That's the easy version, so don't struggle. Listen to the instructions, because you do know, sometimes you question yourself and you get all caught up, which leg, what foot, but you do know. Alright, so let's come into cat pose, but if not, just stay where you are and maybe into a down dog, which is yours to play around with. You can walk it out, you can bend your knees, you can be on the balls of your feet. Because if your legs are too stiff and your shoulders are stiff, you'll be here, and that's hard. We want to take the weight back. So bend the knees if you need to. Use the floor to push away from. You're resisting gravity. Lift your body weight up into the sitting bones, then look towards the belly. Armpits down, same way that we just did. And imagine as you look towards your navel that you're trying to get your belly closer to your chin. You're trying to get your sitting bones closer to your heels. Rest, or you can take the weight to the left foot and maybe you lift the right leg, extending into the ball of the right foot. Rest, or you can take your right foot over to the left side. All right, now we're going to bring that right palm forward and turn the left foot to the left side. Now, if you were doing Parigasana, you'd drop that right knee to the floor, wouldn't you? Because it would look like this, you remember? Otherwise, wild thing pose, which you can turn into a bit of a back arch. Beautiful. Come back into down dog, rest if you need to. Otherwise, just find all that stuff again. Find your place again. Armpits down, chin to throat, bottom bones to heels. Lift the left leg maybe. And left foot over to the right. Left palm forward. Turn your toes to the right side. Drop the left knee to the floor if you're doing Parigasana or wild thing pose. You can do the back arch version if you want. Back into down dog. Beautiful. And drop your knees. We're going to come into sitting. Do it my way or do it your way. Here we are. Okay. Table pose. Now the first bit really is just to get this nice stretch in the chest. So with your fingers, they're going to face towards your bum, but you can walk them back a little bit, whatever feels comfy. But keep your head still, because sometimes when I say lift the chest, I see this. That's your head, all right? I'm not saying any of you guys are doing it. I don't know what you're doing, but it's just in case. They're little habits that I see people do, so I don't know what's going on out there. So fingers to the bottom, we push the shoulders down. See, shoulders down. Now I want to imagine my elbows are trying to touch each other. Now if I say in class sometimes, lift your chest, this is what people do. So what I'm going to get you to do is keep your head where it is and push your chest forward, and your sternum is here. Can you lift your sternum? But keep your elbows moving towards each other. That's a little bit different. Your head doesn't need to move. It can stay where it is. Now if you want to go into table pose proper, move your bottom to your heels, breathe in, lift up, shoulders to the hips. Now I'm going to explain this properly because sometimes people just drop their head back. You can keep your head here, it's probably a bit safer, but if you want to try something different, it's chin forward, look at the ceiling, and as you start to lift your chin, you're pushing your throat up. You're not dropping your head back. You're not going to drop your head back because you're going to squish that poor little vertebra in your neck. Same one that you squished before when you came up and you didn't do the worm. Yeah? Coming all the way down. So over and over and over again, we squish the same things and then wonder, why are they getting sore? Roll your shoulders in. So hopefully we're just going to break a few of those habits by being aware of them. No, you never know. All right. Now, before you come down to the floor, I want to quickly demo what we're going to do, and it's a little bit of an add-on. Again, I think we did it last week, but I just want to make sure that you know what we're doing. So we're doing these little warm-ups, and we're going to come into a happy baby. So this is a happy baby. There's always resistance. It's not this. It's resistance. And then I'll say let go, and maybe you work on straightening your leg. But we're not doing this version. Again, that's a passive stretch. We're going to do this version where you're going to push your leg into your arm and your arm into your leg, and then you'll relax. You'll try again, and then you relax. Maybe you can hold on here. My arms are long. Maybe you're here. Or maybe you just continue doing this one. Okay? I'll turn around this way. Get warm if you want to, by the way. I should have said that. I've got my heater on today. So grip the mat with the left foot. Take your right leg straight. 10 centimeters off the mat when you're ready. One-legged bicycles. Opposite direction. Back to the first position. Lift the right leg up. Crisscross. Hang out there, or the left leg can go up and over to the right. Maybe reach for your heels. Maybe leave your head where it is, or you can expand the tummy on the inhalation, chin to the throat, peel the upper body off the mat, and coming back down. So I'm going to anchor, hug I should say, my left thigh to the side ribs, chest, side ribs, come into happy baby with this right leg. So you could hold on to your calf, your ankle, maybe you can reach the outside of your right foot. But it's resistance, and what that means is a little bit like you're pulling yourself up on a monkey bar. So you're trying to get that thigh to the floor, but you're resisting by pushing your foot to the ceiling at the same time. Can you see that muscle working here, this bicep? So if I was pulling myself onto a ledge, it would be exactly the same thing. All right, this helps to release your neck as well. Now if it's enough, stay there. Now if you want to, you work on straightening that right leg. Let go of it, don't yank it. Bring the arm on the inner right thigh and push the leg into the arm. So push and relax. Try again. Little push, relax. And then from there, just wherever you end up, that's the pose. That's the pose. Hug. Relax. Let's just try something. Can we straighten the right leg and straighten the left leg? See, it's different again. Okay, let's try the other side. Grip with the right foot, left leg straight, 10 centimeters off the floor, one-legged bicycles. Opposite direction. Crisscross, left leg to the right, right leg to the left, only if you want to. Reach for that finger, sky, ceiling, heels. Maybe do the sit-up, it's optional, expanding the tummy on the in-breath, chin to the throat. Coming back down. So this time I'm going to hug my right thigh to my side ribs, which is not to be confused with the chest. Left leg's going into happy baby, so it could be here, you could hold here. Maybe you can reach the outside of your left foot if you're flexible and your arms are long like mine. You imagine you're trying to get your thigh to the floor, but you're resisting the idea. Foot to the ceiling at the same time. And either just stick with that one, or you can try working on straightening your left leg, bringing your arm on in the center or in front of your left leg. Resistance. I'm going to push just gently. Your life doesn't have to depend on this resistance. Little push and relax. Try again. Little push, relax, and wherever you end up, that's your pose. So soften into it. And hug that thigh to your chest. Pop feet on your mat. So have the outsides of your feet parallel with the mat. Lift the pubic bone, chin in, have your arms so that they're on a very similar plane to your thighs. Now if you press your feet down and you lift the pubic bone, you're going to feel that your thigh muscles are working and your pelvic floor muscles are working. It might be enough to keep you warm. You can just stick with that one. Otherwise, to do Setu Bandhasana, keep focusing on the pubic bone and connect it with the breath, connect the movement with the breath. So as you inhale, you're going to imagine your pubic bone moving as if towards your chin. And you might feel the front of your hips organically start to lift. And then you can squeeze your heels again as if towards each other. That's taking your feet into an imaginary duck feet position, but it engages your inner thighs, protects your knees, and works your core muscles without you having to squeeze. Oh, that was a poem. I did not realize I created a poem then. Once you're in a position that feels nice for you, relax the belly. So the feet are going to stay strong. If you're using your toes, your heels, that's going to help keep your legs strong. It's going to help engage your pelvic floor muscles without you having to squeeze them. Pop the arms down by the side. If it's enough, stay. If the next variation is too strong for your neck, maybe don't do it, but you can have a go and see how it goes if you like. You shimmy onto one side, bring one arm under, do the same on the other. Join hands, shuffle the shoulders away. Press the backs of the arms down, and then with your chin towards your throat, so you're massaging your throat. Imagine if you're walking down the road and you looked up towards the ceiling. You're just going to do that, but it's really subtle. I only want you to feel like you're trying to lift your chin 1/3 of a millimeter. It's a tiny little bit of resistance. Now the next pose we're going to do before we come down is a kidney massage. If you have a block, this might be easier, because the easy version can be hard on your hands, okay? So that's why a block is useful, but I'll show you both variations. Don't feel obligated, but it's something you can think about if you want to grab a block for next time. So we shuffle onto one side. We have the heel of the hand in the kidney area. That's just above the sacrum, below the rib cage. Same on the other side. And then we have to allow gravity so that we can sink into it. Harder version, but easier on your hands, is where you get your fist and you press that into the kidney area. See, I'm much higher now, but then I have to use gravity and sink into it. And that's hard because it's sensitive and you need to be quite strong. It's tricky, but good idea if you can do it. And relax. So we're going to come down, resisting gravity, joint by joint, vertebra by vertebra, upper back to lower back, and ideally so that your tailbone touches the floor after your sitting bones. Now once your bottom lands, bring maybe one knee at a time towards your armpits. Bring the arms in between the thighs and push the arms into the inner thighs and the inner thighs back into the arms, and relax. Hold on to your shins. Bring your knees a little bit closer to your armpits and then create resistance. Shins into palms, palms into shins, and then relax. And we're going to finish the way we started. So fish pose, Matsyasana. Broaden across the upper back. Press the shoulder blades down. Bring the chin towards the throat. Relaxing the belly, expand the tummy on the inhalation. So feel as if you're lifting your belly, your chest, your collarbone, as if towards the ceiling. So front of the body is expanding as the middle of your spine moves away from the mat. And relax. Allow the back of the body to sink back down. Bring your knees together. Pop the arms down by the side. Give it a little bit of a wiggle. And you can pop your feet on your mat. Now you can just turn your palms up, maybe, and just gently extend into your fingers, just very subtle, like someone's going to put a tennis ball in your hands. Or you can rest your hands on your tummy. You can shimmy your feet out, maybe let your knees drop together. Some of you might find Baddha Konasana is comfortable. You can prop yourself up here as well, or put your legs onto a cushion. That feels nice, or your feet onto a cushion. So we're going to do a few rounds of breathing exercise called Vilomakrama, and we're focusing on the exhalation. In the beginning we focused on the inhale. And a reminder that when you do these breathing exercises, even though you're doing something specific, you've been given something to do, ideally you're still trying to slow down your breathing and increase the lengths of the pauses if possible, okay? Which is tricky because when you're thinking about your breathing, you tend to breathe more. But we'll have a go. So the inhalation is exactly the way that it was before. If you can remember how to apply Ujjayi breathing, then you can incorporate that. Don't worry if not. So it's a normal in-breath, 3/4 of a lungful, similar to how we did earlier. And when you exhale, you're going to exhale in 3 even stages. Okay, so that'll be exhale, pause, exhale, pause, and then exhale. Release all the breath, pause if possible, and then you begin again. Now if you can't manage 3, that's okay. Just do 2 exhale pauses or even 1. Do what you can, play around with it, find your own rhythm. You can practice when you're doing those exhale pauses, something similar to what we did in the beginning. Remember when we were saying, when you exhale, just feel your body softening. You know, you've been given a task, and sometimes when you've been given a task, you want to do it properly, and there is always that sense, am I doing it properly? But can you just go with it? Can you just relax into it? Can you let your body soften? Can you let go of this idea that some of us have about perfectionism and things being just so, just right? Just relax and soften into it instead. Complete the exhalation that you're on, unless you want to do some more, in which case you can pause the recording. Now for the last part of this relaxation aspect of the class, I want you to feel comfortable, warm, settled. If you feel that way already, don't move. But if you do need to adjust your position, just do it as quickly, as unfussily as you can. And give yourself a focus. Focus on your body. Try and stay within the parameters of your body, quite close, so that you're just really concerned with the experience that you're having in the present moment. So how it feels to be lying on the floor, how the ground feels beneath your body, how the air in the room feels on the surface of your skin, how your clothes feel against the surface of your skin, and a slight difference in sensation from where your clothes are covering your skin to where your skin is exposed to the air, and just that kind of tiny space where it changes. How does that feel? If you're wearing jewelry like I am, how does it feel to have rings on your fingers? Are there any colours, any images, any patterns behind the eyes? Is there tension in your body? Do you need it? Is it helpful? Can you let it go? And if tension creeps in, was there a thought or a memory that just kind of flew in and it's too late, you can't remember what it was? Again, if you want to relax for a slightly longer period of time, you can pause or hit this recording. Otherwise, I'm going to take you through the last part of the relaxation. So this is a visualization exercise. So if your attention has drifted somewhat, just bring your awareness back into your physical body. And this is all about just helping to promote the healing response by visualizing particular parts of the body to improve the blood flow. So just start by focusing on the lowest part of the belly, so around the pelvic floor, pubic abdomen. Just feel as if you're taking a little sip of air into the lower belly. Sense that whole area expanding, becoming warm and feeling spacious. And then follow your breath into the main part of the belly, just allowing the navel to lift away from the spine, visualizing the whole of your digestive area. Reminding yourself again, it's governed by our relaxation response. This is why it's called rest and digest. So we are processing life experiences, we're digesting as well as digesting food. So just allow this area to feel free, to feel warm, to feel spacious and nourished. Follow your breath into the chest. Just feel the ribs lifting slightly out of the waist. Visualize your heart, visualize your lungs and your circulatory system, a little bit like a road map around your body. So we are a system of tunnels and channels. And what creates blockages in these tunnels and channels is tension, food, and thoughts. So just if you can, visualize these three things working together to move the blood and the energy around the body without impediment, so that we can bring oxygen into all of the cells. Just be aware of your throat, and if there's tension in your throat, just let it soften, let it relax. And follow your breath through the throat to the crown of the head. Just pausing to observe for a moment sensation at the crown of your head. And when you're ready to exhale, just see if you can follow that, not just as a feeling of release and softness in your muscles and your bones, but also with that idea everything is in its place. So follow that thought, that idea if you can, down the back of your head, your neck, upper back, across the shoulders, the middle back, the lower back, across the top of the pelvis, buttocks, tailbone, and down through each of your legs, heels, and out through the tips of each of your toes. In your own time, you can give your fingers and your toes a wiggle. You can squeeze your eyes and your eyelids together, and you can bring your arms up above your head. Give your whole body One last big stretch. You can either bring up your left knee to roll yourself gently to the right side, or if you prefer, bring up both knees and roll yourself gently to the right side. You can stay there for as long as you like. Have a lovely day, afternoon, evening, everybody, whenever you're doing this practice. Namaste.